And you all know who I am from the event, but I'm Brad Chapman. So great to meet you all. So let me see. Wow, there's a lot more people here. Okay. All right. It's growing. So again, we're recording, everyone. My name is Brad Chapman, and I'm welcoming you again in case you just popped in. Now, the event name as written is the most important thing a singer or rapper needs is. Okay, now I put ... because I'm going to answer it. But I want you all to think about it for just a second. And you're going to be surprised by my answer, which is cool, because this is going to be something you've never seen before. And feel free to invite people during the session if you want to from your page. We can go up to 500 people, so got no worries about the time. Okay, now I'm going to mention my platinum records behind me because I want you to open your mind and ignore most of what you think you know about what makes a singer a star or a rapper. It's not vocal technique like all the vocal technique teachers would like you to think. And I am one, but I don't focus a lot on that. What people really want to hear from us as singers, whether we're cover singers or whether we're artists, is that we sound like the artists and we got the right feel for the genre of all the people that we love and what we're doing, and we're putting things together. Now, if you're doing strictly covers, you want to sound exactly like the artist so that people say, hey, that guy's really good. I mean, wow, or that woman, they're just great. That's the way people read things. They see, oh, you sound like the record. Unfortunately, one of the reasons there's so little live music nowadays is because people wanted to hear the record so bad they've gone to DJs. So it's kind of a whole new way of thinking. And I'm going to show you what's really important. And what's really important is, like I mentioned in the paragraph, is being yourself, being unique, having great feel. Now that's more for the artist, for the beginners and the cover artists. Then it's more for just learning, just getting your chops, getting things together. So there's a little place where you can raise your hand. If you take your arrow down to the bottom of your screen, you'll see some icons. One says Manage Participants. If you open that, you'll see a little icon that says Raise Your Hand. So just to make sure everyone's hearing me, would you all go ahead and raise your hand, please? Yep, there we go. Okay, you can hear me. Great. Thanks, Baby Bing. And Nick, way to go. Okay, let's see. Let me cross over here. All right, they can't do that because they're not on the phone. Okay. Not on the actual video. All right, excellent. Now, the platinum records tell you that I know what I'm talking about. They're RIA certified, which means they're real. If you see gold and platinum records without that stamp, they didn't get them from the label. They're not real. And I want you to just know that, not so much a big brag, but just to let you know that you can have confidence in what I know and what I say, because I was involved in these projects and they sold very well. I've been involved in projects that didn't as well, but that's just the music industry. Even Quincy Jones didn't have a great record every time he came out. It's just crazy, I mean, you can have been a big star 20 years ago and you're still making new records, but they're not selling. But you're still out on tour because you love what you do. You don't worry so much about the money. But not getting too far off topic here, voice teachers will tell you it's being on pitch, it's being on rhythm, it's being a great tone, it's having tons of range. And why? Because that's what they teach. And I understand that. I help people with that too when it's needed. But what is most important, again, is what we talked about, and I'm going to show you here very quickly. Now, just so that everybody is focusing strictly on the screen share, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions first, and then I'm going to close your cameras. The questions are, do you ever wonder if you're getting the right rhythm, phrasing, inflections, or feel of an artist that you love? Do you ever wonder about that? Like, did I really get it? Just raise your hand if you wondered about that. Okay, great. Thanks, baby. Okay, I'm sure the other people did too. Now, if you're not wondering, this is actually going to show you in a way that you should be wondering. Because the number one way that singers learn other singers' songs is they play the music and they start singing along. You're missing a lot of inflections and rhythm and feel when you do that because you're covering the other artist. Or if you've got them up so loud you can't hear yourself, again, you don't know whether you're matching or not. So the video program we're going to go through today will show you exactly how to master these issues so that you don't have to worry about it anymore. You'll have confidence. You'll really know what you're doing. Now, let's do another question. Any of you ever worry about being flat, sharp, or straining? Nope, raising your hand. Okay, that's a good way too. Just raise your hand. But I can't see everybody right now. So, but I can see you, Ann Britt. That's great. Now, how do you know whether you're singing sharp or flat? Well, the best way, of course, is to have a really great coach. But in this situation where I've decided to develop a program, you'll be able to establish the information yourself by being able to match the artist that you're singing with. And another thing voice teachers will tell you is to always be perfectly on pitch. You're going to learn today that a lot of things are not perfectly on pitch and shouldn't be perfectly on pitch. It's not the way that we actually do things these days. That's opera and Broadway. And they might want you to project and sing loud. Well, on a microphone, you're going to get distortion. So, again, not cool, these things that they're teaching us. So I'm sure you've wondered about that and hope that you were. Again, as was proven in a very unfortunate way on American Idol, people think that they're on key when they're not. And so you really need the ear of someone else if you're doing private coaching, or in this case, the program will let you record yourself and listen back, and you'll be able to tell whether you're on key or not. As far as straining goes, it's usually when we're straining, we're too high on the key, or actually sometimes too low. Maybe a woman's trying to sing along with Adam Levine, and he goes, he's woo, and they're very cool there, but then he goes, oh, baby, and they're going, oh, baby. You could strain on low notes too. But of course, the number one thing you see people do is like, hey, I'm trying to sing this high note. And that's not bad. I mean, it's okay, but it's going to make you strain and you're going to lose stamina because it's not the best way to do things. We want to do things in the best possible way. And I know that a lot of you, if you've tried, have been turned down for auditions as well. And that's not a whole lot of fun. But this will help you get those auditions. And when you get those auditions, you'll be worth more money to them. So as you build your fan base and you convince people that you're worth something, then they're going to be more willing to pay you, which is kind of the dream of a lot of people, is to be paid for doing their art or even doing cover songs, either way. Okay, so I think that covers that. I'm going to turn everybody's camera off so that all you can see is the share screen. I'm even going to turn myself off here. I'll leave my mic on. Okay, now we're going to be sharing the screen. And this is the software that I'm going to show you, again, how simple it is to use. Okay, the video panel's hidden. Doesn't mean you disappear, it just means I can't see you for now, because I want all your attention here. I could put my face up like I've seen other people do, but I don't want you looking at me right now. I want you to really be focused on this software, watching my mouse move around and seeing the results of what I'm telling you here. Now, I'm also going to add a couple of URLs so that you know where you can purchase the program or you can contact me. So let me get the text here. Don't worry, I'm still here. Unfortunately, the software wouldn't let me do it ahead of time. All right. Now, do just some slide adjusting. Make it look real good for you here. Okay, now this URL, and I'll read it through with you, is for the actual program, so you can check it out later. And I'll talk it out so that you can either type it into a document or write it down on a piece of paper. So it's https:// best singing and rapping teaching video programs .sells with a Z, notice the Z, .com. One more time, I'll go a little faster. https:// best singing and rapping teaching video programs .sells, SELZ.com. Now the other one I'm going to put up is my personal web page. Now, if at any point you see flashing on your screen, don't worry about it. It's just the way it reacts when I'm doing these things. Okay. There we go. That's all set. And that is, in case you leave early, www.bradchapmanvocals.com. Again, follow the arrow, www.bradchapmanvocals.com. And this is where I do my private work. So when you want vocal technique, you want to learn how to belt high without straining because you don't want to lower the key of the song, I can help you with that, but I won't give you a program for that, and I'll tell you why. As a singer, you're blind. Unless you've had an awful lot of help from a seeing eye person to figure out how to get around your house, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. And the problem with these programs is that I will make a demonstration here that will really tell you what I mean. Let's say that the teacher on the program, and they may be very famous for teaching celebrities, tells you to go, oh, and you're like, okay, that was cool. Now the teacher will tell you, okay, now sing along with my piano. Right? And then it's like, wait a minute. I'm going to sing that now, and listen to what might happen to a lot of people. And they think they're doing it right because they haven't trained their ear and they haven't been trained by someone else to feel whether they're on or off pitch. So that's why I do that privately. And then there's one other thing. Sometimes people can be really straining or even singing in the wrong octave, but I'll just do the really straining one. They might go, and again, if there's no one telling them that they're not doing that, if you don't have a private coach, don't buy those programs. They don't work. I would recommend, if you don't want to come to LA, or if you don't want to use video phone, or you can't afford me or whatever, any teacher in your town will be better than a video program. I don't care who made it on vocal technique. It just does not work. And then if you want private training for emotion and feel, welcome whoever just came on, emotion and feel, then I can do that with you as well. But that's, again, a very personal thing. When I do that kind of work, I ask a lot of questions of my clients because we both need to know where they're at and what they're doing and why they're doing it. Okay, so the person who just joined, we're on screen share. Your mic is muted, but you will get a chance to ask questions later on. We're going to do a Q&A. All right, excellent. So here we go. I'm going to start to show you how this thing works. So I have an old song called The Rose because it's a classic and a lot of people know it. And it's very simple. It has 3 sections that are all the same notes, and it's all within 1 octave. So it's very easy to put this in your own range. Now, here's the biggest skill singers don't think about that they need more than anything, and that's called listening. You have to listen to learn. If you're singing along with it, like I mentioned earlier, if you're singing along with people, you're not quite getting it. So watch how this works. I'm just going to play her singing, and I want you just to listen carefully to how she's singing the first phrase. There'll be 3 beats ahead so that you know when the vocal's coming. Some say love, it is a river that drowns. Now, as you can tell, I have slowed her down already, and I've changed the pitch for me. But again, notice how you'll be able to hear every little inflection. Now, what I'm going to show you here is called loop play. So we go to loop play here, and we highlight the section that we want to listen to, like this. There we go. And then when we click loop play, it's going to play over and over again for us. Now, I'm only going to let it go twice so we're not here all day. But when you're doing this, the first time you hear the phrase of an artist, you should listen a lot more times because I guarantee you're missing things if you haven't got this program or haven't already mastered this concept. Here we go. Some say love, it is a river. Some say love, it is a river. Now, if you were listening closely, I want you to notice that it did not go like this. And this is the way most people sing a song that they've just learned. And I'm going to use clapping for a beat. Actually, I can use the piano. Hold on a sec. Some say love, it is a river. Now you see, I was perfectly on beat. I was really probably right on pitch, and I was on the syncopations and I was on the downbeat, but you know how boring that just was. I mean, I embarrassed myself, right? But I'm here to help you, not necessarily to impress you how great I am, but how much I can help you get better and as many people out there as possible. It's one of the reasons we're keeping the price down. I'm going to put the price in here for you so that you know that this is not like a crazy expensive program. It's just $47. Okay, I'm just going to move this over quickly for you so you can see it right there. This Zoom company is terrific. You notice how good everybody's video and the audio is. And one of the reasons I'm on headphones is because I want you to have great audio and I want to hear you very clearly. So we've just done what we call loop play for listening. And the reason I lowered the key of this song is because in Bette Midler's key, which I did for you just a second ago, it was too low. And in her original key, because of the feel and style of this, it was too high. Now, unless I do a Smokey Robinson thing or an Adam Levine thing, it was too high for me. So I put it in a key that's comfortable for me, so when you see me practice, you're going to get an idea of how you make it comfortable for yourself as well. By the way, this song, The Rose, was the title of a movie called The Rose, and it was Bette Midler singing as if she was Janis Joplin. So we know it was a pretty sad story about Janis, and most people really loved her, felt she was like the most emotional singer ever. Just incredible what she was able to do. We're sad when we lost her. So they did a movie about it. And you might want to check it out. It's a really interesting story. Okay, so now we do what's called, the actual practicing mode. For those of you who just came on, we're going through this screen share, and I'm showing everyone how this works so that if they want to take a look at it and buy it, that they already have a pretty good idea of how it works. And our main reason for being here is so that you learn a paradigm shift, that singing is not about high ranges, perfect pitch, perfect rhythm, perfect syncopations. That's not what people want to hear from us. They want to hear a story. They want to hear feel. And this particular recording I picked, Bette Midler does an incredible job. And every phrase of this song, she sings a little bit differently. I'll show you that a little bit later. But now I'm going to do just practicing for a moment here. So this is what you'd be doing, and you can sing along if you want. So I'm going back, and I'm going to go into loop play. And here we go. Some say love is a river. Some say love is a river. Now, what I'm doing when I'm singing there is I'm singing the feel that I learned from listening over and over again. If I'm actually listening to Bette, I'll either be a little bit late or a little bit early. Now, in case you're wondering, this is not the only song you can use on this program. You can put a rap song on, you can put country western, you can put any heavy metal, I don't care what it is, you can put it on this program and learn from that artist. And if you're a musician, you can use it as well. I know there's other products for musicians, but this one's very simple, not too expensive, and if you want to use it to slow down your favorite guitar licks, you can use this exact same process to make sure you're mastering the style of the guitar player that you really love so much. And then you can make that part of your artistry if you want to go that far. Now, I felt like I was blending pretty well because I've been over this quite a few times. Now, again, to show you the difference, listen again to me clapping out the beat and singing it on rhythm. I'm not even going to use the piano because I want you to hear the claps. Some say love, it is a river. You see, that's pretty much perfection, right? Right on the pitch, right on the note, boring as hell. You don't want to be doing that in this industry. You may have heard people have been trained in classical music or Broadway do what we would call a pop song. In other words, something you're used to hearing on the radio, or even trying to rap. And it's like, you're from another planet, man. You don't sound anything like what we're doing. So usually we will turn them off pretty quick. Now, here's the beauty of where you can learn how to master. This has a very simple record function. So I'm going to record myself as I sing along, and then I'll be able to listen back and see how well I did as far as matching her goes. Some say love, it is a river. Okay, excellent. Now I can listen back to that and see how I did. Some say love, it is a river. It's pretty much right on. Now I'm going to show you something else here to make sure I'm right on. I'm actually going to use this part over here to lower the volume. This is the track that I just sang. And the way it recorded, my voice was a little bit too loud for me to be really sure. So you can always change this gain. If your recording didn't come out loud enough, you can bring it up. But again, it's all about blending and making sure that we know what we're doing and how it's working for us. Okay, so I'm going to play it again with my voice turned down a little bit. Some say love, It is a river. Okay, I like it. Now, if I was to perform that with a track, and I will be making another video about this on how to sing along with tracks without the singer, then I would sound a lot like her. I would sound a lot like her because I've learned it. It's a part of me. It's a memory now. And then other people are going to say, wow, you know, except for picky artists, other people are going to say, wow, that was like really cool. Way to go, man. And then if I throw in an original after that, you're going to be a lot more open-minded to it. Or you're going to want to hire me for your weddings, your dance bands, you know, whatever. It's really a cool way of making sure that you're getting this right. Now, I mentioned to you that she does every phrase different. So I'm going to show you exactly what I was talking about. I'm going to, first of all, close this track. You always want to reclose or close this track right here to make sure that it's not interfering with your new work. Okay, so I know pretty much how this works, so I'm just going to find the next section, which is right here. And let's highlight that, which is right here. And I'm just going to check it real quick. So hold on a second. Okay, so that was the second part. So we're going to start from where that ended. Drowns the tender reed. Now here again, I believe she comes in Some Say Love. Let me check. Okay, I'm gonna remove that coloring there. See where she is now. Welcome everybody. We're just going through this. Okay. Good. Now that was the total end of that phrase, but what I want you to listen to here now is she's going to sing Some Say Love, It Is a Razor, and I want you to notice how different that is than the first one. And if you don't hear it the first time, I guarantee you, if you listen often enough and really check it out, you're going to be able to hear what I'm talking about. Here we go. Some say love, it is a razor. Like just that line there. Razor is so much different than river, like she did in the first one. So as you go through this entire song, you're going to be learning a new phrase every time. You will not hear one repeat. I promise you. I've been through it. And again, my video program will show you very, very simply how to do that. Now, pretty much I've covered how this works other than the real details, which you'll get from the video program. So I'm going to stop the share screen, and we're going to be able to see each other again. And we're going to do some questions. Somebody's written a chat. Says, so this is essentially a tool for getting to train other people's technique. It's to learn it, not really train it so much. It's to learn it so that you can make it your own. It's also, if you're a beginner, yes, it's training for you because you need to learn a lot of skills before you can start to make up your own stuff. Many years ago, when we were very young, I can see everybody here is a little older, we sang along with records. It was really fun. It was really cute. And then we decided to be more of an actual singer. And then we started trying all these other things. But that's a really long way to go. And there's probably 1% of the world that gets that right. In other words, they listen to that rapper, they listen to that singer, and they actually get it right. Hey, Mayat, how you doing, man? Good to see you here. Mayat's a great producer and a great host. We've done hangouts together and so forth. I'm sure he'll ask some very important questions, which is going to be wonderful. So let me turn my camera on. So now that you can see that I said hi back. Hey guys, it's great to see you all. Some people are on their phones, so I can't see their picture. That's okay. They can still, maybe they can raise their hand. I don't know. But I told people earlier, the way you raise your hand is you take your arrow down to the bottom of the screen and you see Manage Participants. Right there, you click on that, and then that'll bring up a window where you can click on an icon that says Raise Your Hand. Okay? So anyone has a question, go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll pick someone. And I'll unmute you when we get to that point. Wow, did I explain it that well? No questions? Here we go. All right, let's start with Ruby. All right, just a second, your mic will be on, Ruby. I have to find you over here. Huh, where'd you go? Yeah, Ruby Chase. There you are, okay. Okay, Ruby, go ahead.
So I'm curious, when you're going through a song like this, would you just be, you do it line per line, slowly listen to it, sing it, move on, and it's to kind of adopt their style? Like,
yeah, it's to learn from them. Let's say, like for instance, let's say I'm a superstar and, you know, I think I know everything, but there's other singers that I really like and they're doing things that maybe I'd like to learn, right? So they can take the program, just bring up one little section of it, you know, once they've learned the process. So let's say Christina Aguilera wants to bring up Aretha Franklin, because it's obvious that she learned a lot from Aretha Franklin. And welcome the next person. Glad to have you here. We're in Q&A right now. And she may just take one lick because she doesn't want to sound like Aretha Franklin. And then she can put it on this program and slow it down and actually, again, learn exactly what the phrasing is. And then she makes it part of her toolbox. So when you hear her sing, she doesn't sound like Aretha at all, but she's got a cool new lick. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of how that works. Is there another question about that, Ruby?
No, just I came in a little bit late, so I was kind of trying to piece together what we were doing.
They did a pretty good job. Yeah. And hopefully you got the URLs that I posted so that you can find the product later. We've got a question from Mayat, so I'm going to mute Ruby and bring up Mayat. There he is. He's right at the top, just like he should be.
Good
Mayat. So go ahead, man. What question do you have today?
Well, first off, good morning, Brad, and good morning, everyone. Well, wherever it is, hello, everyone. I don't know where you guys are in the world.
Sounds like you got a little cold, man.
I was sick as a dog up until yesterday. Okay. Even just now, listening to you as you were doing that and listening to the nuances, what was running through my head is a lot of times when I'm dealing with singers, they'll sing a song and think they're doing what the artist was doing, and it's not even close. And just now, like that song, well, that singer and that song is like one of my favorites.
Great.
And slowing it down and listening to all the little nuances, I'm picturing a singer actually mimicking and then listening to themselves and realizing how much they're not doing what that person is doing. And so like I'll have a singer with me, Brad, and the singer will be straining and singing with whatever is running through their head. And then you go back and you compare it, and she's so effortless. And there's like little, just like little stuff in there. And it's like, even just now I'm thinking, wow, all of that was in that little phrase. And it can force a person to face reality.
Yeah.
Instead of me having to tell them, because I'll talk to singers a lot of times, and it ends up being a fight where they're not believing me, but that right there could put you in check. So it's like, hey, she's singing it this way, and I'm straining on this, and it's just effortlessly flowing out of her with this feel. And then when a singer starts adapting, they can self-adjust. And when you were talking about her not singing the second part the same, there's this thing we call near rhymes in rap, and that's what it reminded me of. It was more about the feeling that it gave the listener than her saying it exactly the same. Like when we have near rhymes, you take Eminem, and if you actually break out some of his lyrics, he's not actually saying words that necessarily rhyme.
Mhm.
They're near rhymes, they sound similar, but it's not, but it makes you feel a certain way, the cadence of it.
Mhm.
And but so I'm sitting here listening to you sing and the nuances, and it made me get even more respect for Bette Midler.
Yeah. Me too.
I already like Bette Midler. and it's just I'm like, when I listen to our singers, the control that they have is not like that. It's not there.
There are some, we don't want to be.
Well, I'm talking about the ones that I deal with.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Right. And Mayat's a producer, so you guys are learning a lot from the way he's talking right now, because one of the things that we do when we assume that we're singing like we think we are is we're making an ass out of you and me. And I know it's a common phrase, but it's very powerful here because, Mayat may be the first person to tell you you're way off, and it might be the first time you decide you're never going to sing again because you did so poorly in the recording session. If you use a program like this, and I did mention if you have Logic or Pro that you can use your own, this one just happens to be really simple, you will not have that problem. You'll not have people saying, man, you're way off, because you're not. Because you know exactly what you did, just the way I showed you. Okay, we got a new
Brad.
Hey, welcome. Yeah, go ahead, Mayat.
When she's singing, like when you slowed it down like that, if a person matches that, there's a physical thing that they're doing where they're getting a physical experience with their voice. Mm-hmm. Instead of them straining and doing whatever they're doing, they're now physically doing something with their voice. And the more that they match it, the more they're actually training themselves through physical. Yeah. And like, that's huge.
It is huge. And for you artists out there, and I know Monet definitely is one, you may not want to really learn how to sing like Bette Midler, but I'm telling you that a lot of the singers that you love have got a lot of great ideas, and you're not catching them. And there's another thing that producers will sometimes do when they're trying to get something out of a certain artist. They'll say, I'm not getting it today, so I want you to go listen to so-and-so. Like last producer, he says, I want this guy to go listen to Bruce Springsteen. Now, that did help, but when you just listen to Bruce Springsteen over and over in his original tempo, and especially if you're singing along with him, you're missing all of these details I just showed you. And so it's going to help a lot more when you get into that situation where a producer wants something you don't have, to use this program to study the people they're talking about. Because you'll hear it all the time. Could you do that more like, Ariana Grande? Or could you do that more like Ludacris? Or, could you do that more like Drake? And they'll send you back and have you actually listening to things. It's not so much they're trying to change you. They're just realizing that even though you have a great feel and they are recording you, that you could maybe do some things a little bit better. And they're your audience. And if they're great at what they do, like Mayat is, when they're through producing you, your audience is going to like what they hear because Mayat liked what he heard. And he's that in-between person. Now, if you have a bad producer, then you find out by doing what he told you and unfortunately spending money and then going out and playing it for people, and they're going, oh, yeah, that's kind of interesting. That's kind of cool. When they should be saying, wow, I'm crying, or, man, I that one part was really funny, and I laughed my ass off. Those are the kind of things you want to hear from people, not, oh, that was really good. That was really wonderful, darling. That was really sweet. That means they didn't feel anything.
If that's Monet Love, the Monet Love that I know,
Yep.
she sat at me at Starbucks, and we went over something where it was about bringing the feel out of her, and she switched from whatever she was doing effortlessly just by the conversation. She had the ability to where she did it right there in Starbucks, and I'm hoping that's her.
Yeah, no, that's her. And what's cool about what you're saying there, Mayotte, is it again, you did it one-on-one with her.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I know there's programs out there that will talk about emotions, and they'll give you some ideas. And I think when it comes on the emotional side, I don't know that you can really hurt yourself that much. I think you can get pretty off track, again, without Mayotte there saying to Monet, yeah, you know, or, you know, could you change that a little bit so I can feel something? And let me tell you something that's very concrete about singing. If you feel it, we'll feel it. So if you're feeling it, then we have a connection. If you're not feeling it, then we don't have a connection. It's that black and white. So when you're performing or recording, you really need to be feeling and telling the story. Again, if you're doing covers, that's a little bit different, but you still want to be telling the story. So Monet's had her hand up for a little bit. So Mayotte, I'm just going to move on to her for a second, make sure there's time for everybody, even though I love your questions because I know you so well. Okay, now let me show and find. I have to scroll through here to find people. There she is. Okay. I'm going to lower her hand and unmute her. Okay, hi Monet. Good to see you again. She's been on a lot of our hangouts with Mayotte, so we know each other pretty well. You can talk now. Oh no, you can't. How come you're not unmuted? Oh, that's Anne that I. Where are you? Could have sworn I just unmuted you. There you are. Okay, unmute. Okay,
There
now I can hear you.
Hi.
Hi. Monet's
Well,
a great singer, by the way, everyone.
Oh, thanks, Brad. I try.
You don't try, you do.
Well, you actually answered the question that I had, so I'm like, oh, well, I didn't have to answer the question. It was just in regards to when my aunt, hi, by the way, Guy, brought it up when we were in the coffee house, because I was thinking about that moment when we were there, and he did something that was really cool. And ever since I met with him when I was out there in California, I've been applying that a lot lately. And the feedbacks that I've been getting is astonishing. So I definitely wanted to touch base with him and say, yo, that's definitely true. It's like when you can, don't even have to say any words, but if you can hum a melody and if you feel as if you're having a full conversation and the person can understand you, even though there's no words exchanged, it's the emotion that you're conveying. So if they can get that emotion, then you're having a conversation. It's a language that's told between the mind and the voice without having to actually say the words. So that was something that was really cool. And I'm glad you really stress upon that, on how it is to really to make that person feel exactly what you're feeling. So that way it doesn't take much for them to get engaged with you if you can communicate to them that way. It's a form of communication.
Absolutely. A great example of that is if I decide to talk to you all like this, and I'm thinking about my tongue and my lips and how is my voice doing, and maybe I need to support it a little bit more. And now I'm very serious, and I even though I'm smiling, I'm very serious because I sound very serious. Because what am I doing? I'm thinking about how I'm using my instrument. We all need to get to the point where we're not thinking about how we're using our instrument when we're singing.
Exactly.
That way we can actually talk through music. And one of the things I want to mention about Bette Midler, and one of the reasons that's such a great recording, is because her phrasing is all being created by emotions.
Yeah.
It's not being created by someone sitting down with a piano with her, which a piano can't even do what she's doing, and saying, okay, we're going to phrase it this way. Some say love, that's not how she's getting it. She's getting it because she's totally wrapped up in the story. And she did her homework. She really learned the song. She really learned everything about it. Maybe she was part of the movie, so she really had a good sense of what the whole thing was about. And one of the things you'll notice about that is is a very sad song, and when you're listening to her, you'll notice she drags behind the beat a lot.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that's because she's so sad. That's real. She's not dragging behind the beat because sometimes somebody told her to drag behind the beat.
Right.
Now, the reason I just developed this program is so we could save time and learn this without having to wonder if I'm the lucky 1% that can do it. And I think you all know, you've heard enough singers out there that you know it is a lot of luck. There's a lot of people out there that are never going to get it because they just sing along with the records and think they're doing well. So when Mayat talks about a reality check, we know this is a fantasy industry, but there's certain parts of things that we really need to know what we're doing. And I just want to take a second to say hi to everybody by their name. Hi, Tamora. Hi, Deanna. Wayne Jr. Kate. And then we have Baby Bling and Ann Britt. And we were just talking to Monet, and Mayat is here as well. We just talked to him. So hi, everybody. I'm so glad that you made today's session. Next time we do this, invite more friends. This thing will actually take 500 people. You don't have to worry about, you don't have to worry about having too many people on. Gets a little confusing when you're trying to unmute the mic of number 499, but the point is that we can do it. Did you have any other questions, Monet, before I move on?
Oh no, by all means, I'm here to definitely get as much information I can. Like I said, you're great at what you do, and that help and everything that you're doing, continue to do it, because it helps people like me on a regular and on a daily. I'm always following and I'm always learning and observing. So I thank you and Mayat very much for your help in my journey.
Well, you're welcome. You're looking beautiful today.
Oh, thank you.
We all enjoyed you on the video.
Yes.
Okay, so you're muted now. Does what we talked about bring up any other questions from anyone else that's here? Now, if you didn't learn how to raise your hand because you weren't here earlier, you take your mouse down to the bottom of the screen and you click on Manage Participants. A window will come up and it'll say, raise your hand, and you click on that link, and I will see you raise your hand, and then I'll know what microphone to unmute. So I'll give you all a second to figure that out. If you're having any problems with that and it's not working, then go ahead and raise your hand and I'll watch for you on the video. Just don't want to leave anybody out today. Ah, okay, great, Deanna. So let me find you over here. And there you are. And you're unmuted. Okay, go ahead, Deanna.
I just wanted to see if it worked. That's all. I'm kidding. I love that look on your face. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hey, Brad.
I'll tell you the worst time that ever happened. I was working in a job, and the manager was really a jerk. And he pulls me into his office, and I'm not thinking about what day it is or what's going on. And he looks at me dead serious like you did, and he says, "We're going to have to let you go, Brad. I'm sorry, but you're fired."
Oh.
Then he said, "April Fool's Day." And it was April Fool's Day.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That's not one to be screwing around with.
No, that's not cool, you know, because I'm thinking my family, my money, my house payments. I mean, all this stuff's flashing through my mind. But anyway, yours was really short and clever, so thank you.
And really, that's all it was intended to be. So it's good to talk to you again. Mayat, it's good to see you again as well. So really, the overall goal of this, because it's something that I want to be able to convey, not only for the people that I produce, but for myself, is that the act of training by slowing down and playing with some of these records, it's a training exercise for you to be able to apply to your own compositions.
Yes.
That's really what this is.
It's when in the marketing, I say it's for beginners to superstars. You know, every level in between, because a beginner may not want art yet. They don't understand that concept.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to get some chops. And when we were all younger, we got those chops by learning to sing along with, various people, but we missed a lot of stuff. And this is what I'm talking about. We missed a lot of stuff. And this program, when you're a beginner, you start with it, you're going to catch all this stuff way ahead of time. You're going to please your audiences at weddings and so forth as you're working your way up to being an artist. And then you're going to have all those great tools there for you
Awesome way to do it.
to mix together, because, we all want to be original. That's totally cool. But you know what? We can't be totally original. We all had to learn some of our phrasing, some of our licks, some of our pitches from another singer. That's the way it's been for centuries.
Right.
In fact, new styles of music come out just this way. It's like, wow, that person's singing totally different. Well, they've heard other singers and they've created their own new thing. And that's what we want. That's great. But if you just want to stay a cover singer and do weddings and get paid, do nightclubs or whatever, then you may not want to sound too much like an original, because then people won't have the respect for you. They don't understand if you're singing Bette Midler's song and you don't sound like Bette Midler, they don't understand. They just think you're doing it wrong. So we want to make those people comfortable by sounding like Bette Midler or whoever you decide to use this program with, so that then if we decide, okay, now I want to be an artist, now's the time to start to create. We've got all this stuff and we can create. And I also mentioned, like, if you just want to take like one lick off of somebody else's record, maybe they're just going E, and you're thinking, well, that was kind of neat. How'd they go E? And how'd they do it so fast? Because you're listening, you're going E, E, E. You're not getting it. So again, slow it down. E, E, E. And you'll be able to start to hear all those little inflections, and where the artist is pushing and pulling the beats, where they're accenting things. They're not just going E, they're going E. See the rhythm in there? E. And you'll miss that if all you're hearing is E, E, because it's going by too fast. So even people who are highly experienced could just do her own thing. I just got a note from here. Let me read it. Oh, yeah. I have a client who's a songwriter, and she uses this process all the time for songwriting. She puts her own voice on it, and checks out what she's doing and slows things down. Now, she has Logic. She knows how to do it, but it's easier for her to use this program. And so after she uses this program, then she goes on to the more serious stuff where she's using her Logic and pulling up all her tracks and so forth. So, Deanna, do you work with rappers?
Every once in a while, not a lot, but I've done some recording and some mixing of a few.
What questions would you have that you could, or where we could say, hey, this is for rappers too?
I'm not understanding the question.
Well, okay, in other words, rappers can use the same process.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're producing a rapper, how would you use this program or this concept to help that rapper get better?
Wow.
Well, I'm kind of asking you a question now.
No, and that's fine, and it's a very interesting question. It's one that I don't quickly have the answer to, though. I mean, a lot of what they're doing is more speak, right? Rather than actual inflection of sound and song. I think it would be in phrasing, right?
Okay.
Is that okay? It'd be in their phrasing.
Yeah, the rhythm.
The rhythm of what they're saying. Yeah.
And one thing I've noticed about rappers, because they send me a lot of stuff thinking I'm a record label because of the Platinum Records. And some of them are really good. Some are really good at rapping, but a lot of them don't have any story to their rap. I mean, you don't feel anything. You just hear the ba-da-da-da-ba-da-ba-da-ba. And if they're really fast, they can be really good at that too. But if there's no story in the words, if the words aren't inflecting the story, that gets boring really, really quick. So this can help rappers figure out, how's my favorite rapper making this interesting? Or how are they getting the rhythm so perfect? And again, their rhythms aren't perfect. They're not they're not doing that. That's boring. All right, excellent.
This is excellent. I actually never thought about that process being viable, but that really works out. Thank you very much for it. I think it's a wonderful way to do it.
Well, you're welcome. And if you don't have the URL that I posted earlier, you can go to the page where you saw the event, and there's a page for that as well that you can go right to the product and see even more about how it works, and then decide whether you want to have it for yourself or not. Okay, Deanne, we've had another question, so I'm going to mute you. And of course, it's Mayat, because he is so cool at this stuff. All right, go ahead, Mayat.
On the rappers, well, actually, I see rappers and singers. I've gotten to where I just see them the same, and even guitar players it's all the same to me. But with rappers, if I slow down Busta Rhymes, you've not only got his cadences, but if I'm paying attention to all these nuances, what I as a producer might do is like ask the rapper, okay, what do you feel right here? Or ask the singer, what do you feel right here when Bette Midler is singing? And then, okay, let's practice you making me feel that way. And just simply that one thing, like if it's anger, let's practice that specific thing. You see how she's doing it, let's do that, because we can work on inflections like that, and then we can also pick emotions out. Once you start slowing it down and identifying emotions of each part and how better Busta Rhymes did it, then we get you, the artist, to start making us feel that one particular emotion. And once you start focusing in on this stuff, your brain starts picking stuff up, like when you buy a new car. You start noticing that car everywhere. And so I'm picturing Busta Rhymes. Huh?
Good parable.
I'm picturing Busta Rhymes saying something slick and smirking, and when you slow it down, you actually pay attention. It's like, hey, it sounds like he's actually smiling. You'll start hearing this, and then you have to start putting that into your own stuff, because it's not just about the cadence. You could say something that's offbeat, and you're saying it with such a smile from the inside, it radiates, and people pick it up, and now they're smiling. It's that type of thing. So anyway, when it comes to rap and whatever, when you asked about rappers, that's one of the things I would do with rappers is slow it down, catch the cadence, catch all these little, like I pick Busta Rhymes in particular because he does a lot of inflections. He's not just a dope on cadence rapper. This dude will say something and say, I'm going to go upside your head with a hammer, and then switch around and say something real cute and cuddly, like, he kissed his baby girl for the first time, his little daughter. Like he goes back and forth. He's very emotional on his stuff. And once you slow it down and you start paying attention, you'll catch some of the stuff. You can catch some of the stuff that he's actually doing to manipulate you. And make no mistake, this stuff is about manipulating people, and that's not saying anything negative. But when I listen to Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You," I'm very much manipulated emotionally.
Yeah, because every little nuance that she creates, you can experience as a listener, and that creates something inside of you.
Yeah.
That's why I always say you have to feel the emotion first. If what we're talking about right now, you have to feel the emotion before your audience can hear an emotion. And like we were saying, Buster smiles, you can hear him smile. That's because he actually was. And the microphone picks that stuff up. Now, while we're on this, Mayat, you mentioned Busta Rhymes. Interesting thing I did with Drake, because now he's doing, some melodies now. And you can hear a lot of effects with some of his songs. And if you're young enough, you probably will think those effects are no problem. I mean, you don't really notice them. But for those of us who notice effects, sometimes we can't hear his story. We can't feel it. So I put him on this program and slowed him down and just said, okay, I'm not going to listen to the effects. And I heard all kinds of inflections and emotions and really cool things he was doing that I was being distracted by from the effects. Mayat and I are on a group called the Pensado Students Facebook group, if you want to join it. And I brought it up to some people, and some of them said, well, I just can't get past the auto-tune. It was actually Melodyne, but I just can't get past it, so I just can't like it. And that's understandable. If you're not into that, you don't like it, that's fine. But if you want to learn something, then you need to take a different approach and say, okay, I'm tuning out the auto-tune. I'm tuning out the fact that they moved his melody from one pitch to a third above it, so it would sound more like a melody. You have to tune all that out because he's still got great feel, and that's what makes him such a great artist, and that's what making that record sell like crazy. I think the kids just love the effects, and so they don't care about it. Does that fit with what you're saying, Matt?
Yeah, I was just discussing this morning. It's kind of funny. You said the people from the past not being able, the people who, because I remember when, like, was it the 80s when effects were huge? Was that the time frame that effects like they were using big, like a whole lot of reverb and stuff? Huh?
They really started creating a lot of computerized effects.
Yeah,
that was the era when MIDI came in, which was some of the first computerized music, other than the synthesizers, which go back even into the 60s, like with
see
the Beatles and stuff.
When I hear the effects on Drake, it draws me in emotionally. I'm talking about the reverbs, and then because he has a lot of like space, and then the auto-tune stuff, I equate it, and people like throw up when I say this type of stuff, but I equate it to like when the saxophone became popular. It does something. It's a culture. That auto-tune actually represents a certain culture and feel. Like when we used to wear Adidas, you wouldn't necessarily hear auto-tune on Sarah Bareilles or whatever her name is. That would be a total out of the feel thing. And when Drake, with that type of stuff, it's a rebelliousness. Some people are just weak and they use it in a sucky way. But when I listen to Drake, he's actually, they're musicians with that stuff. Mm-hmm. It's not just haphazard. And so for me, I don't have to get past it. But anybody who's listening to Drake and not valuing it, not anybody underestimating it, they're missing a whole thing, because Drake is moving people, mm-hmm. period. I'm not like, I know women say he's handsome and all that. I can't get into all that. But
I'm glad to hear that, Matt. And so is your wife.
I'm not that Hollywood. But when I listen to how his emotions and whatever, it's like I said, like if he says I like you, it really sounds like he likes you, and he gets very vulnerable on stuff where he's exposing stuff, and it feels like you're actually into his personal space and whatever is going on with him, and it draws you in. So me personally, I have no issue. I don't have to get past the effects. That auto-tune stuff that they're doing with him sucks me in. As well as the rich reverbs the dark reverbs that they'll have on him, that Noah will put on him. That stuff sucks me in. And the older generation who equates that to back in the day stuff, and it throws them off or whatever, as far as the reverb stuff or the auto-tune being offensive. If this dude is having this type of an effect on people, and your artists are not, there's something that, like you said in Pensado Students, there's something people have got to like come to grips with to help themselves, because he's very effective. And if you study people who are very effective, even if you don't like them, there's something you might pick up from that'll actually help you. I'm over here listening to hardcore metal that I would never listen to. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean,
millions and millions of people listen and like it. And I'm finally finding stuff where I'm like, oh, okay, I see what they're doing right there.
So again, I don't mean to boost your ego, but this is what makes Mayotte a great producer, because he's open-minded. He's listening to everything that's going on, so he can work with various artists and he can make things happen in those recordings that a producer that's more locked into something can't do. And I find it extremely valuable in my coaching, because, I'm listening to various artists and people come in, they say, I want to be able to do this or be able to do that. And I've heard those things, and I can't keep up with all of it. None of us can. That's just crazy. But I do listen to rappers. I do listen to what they're doing. I do listen to the feel, and I do work with some rappers. One of them was up for a Grammy this year. He unfortunately didn't make it, but he had great feel. He had great emotion. So let me see if anybody else wants to talk. again, if you don't know how to do the electronic, oh, here we go. Monet wants to talk again. So I will bring her on. Hold on just a sec. Just got to find her, that's all. Monet. Monet. There you are. Okay. You're unmuted, Monet. Go ahead.
Okay. So that was awesome about what you guys are talking about in regards, especially like with Drake. You know, I mean, the nakedness really behind his voice is super, super ill. And like you said, if you slow it down and you just really listen and get past the effects, like seriously, like the nakedness in his voice really does allure you. And one of the rappers that I really did like a lot, and I'm so kind of mad that he doesn't really do it as much, but hey, it is Ludacris, because he was a fantastic storyteller. Like his metaphors to me were just pure genius, even though they were comical or if they were really serious. The way his vocal expression was as a rapper was breathtaking to me, because as a singer, as myself, I'm going, if I could do that, like sing from how he raps, that's a game changer, you know? So like I look at those things, and like rappers back in the day, such as like Common or Q-Tip, like their fluctuation was just ridiculous. And Busta Rhymes, you know, those were my favorites to me because they were true storytellers, and it just always drawed me in. They could be talking about mopping the floor, but the way they delivered it was just so like, wow, you know, I would just really get into it that way. So but that is a valid point when you're saying that rappers and singers are pretty much one the same. It's just the deliverance and it's how it's done. So I truly had to take some time to understand that, because I used to think that singers and rappers were on different sides of the universe, but we're really on the same planet.
You know, if you haven't noticed this, I talk to a lot of my singers that are a little bit too much old school in their phrasing, too smooth, for what they want to do. They want to do dance, hip hop music, and they're kind of singing too smoothly. One of the things I've discovered is that modern singers are rapping more in their melodies. They're using more rhythm, more attacks, more staccato work than they did 10 years ago. So they're being influenced by rappers, whether they like it or not. It's all changing. I mean, Ariana Grande, her phrasing is very broken up, and as you know, she can rap as well. Welcome, Louis. Good to see you here, man. And let's see. Do you have a question, Louis? You want me to unmute your mic and talk for a second? You can just raise your hand if you want. Okay, there we go. Let me find you now.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt's right. It would be crazy to have 500 people on here.
Yeah, that'd be kind of tough to do.
Just as far as trying to make sure that everybody gets a chance to talk, which of course would be unrealistic. We would have to. There you are, Louis. Okay. Is it Louis or Louis or?
Louis, anything works, man.
All right.
But I definitely agree with your point, however. I don't have a question as yet, but I do agree on the rap influence on all the genres nowadays. It really enhances everybody's flow, I feel. It brings a different cadence and a different weight to any type of music. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say for now, but I agree with your point.
Well, we all appreciate that because we're all here to learn. And you didn't get to see me go through the program, but the video program that I created actually helps everybody get through this and figure out what's going on and then make it part of themselves. And once you've actually mastered this whole concept, you can use Logic, you can use Pro Tools, use anything you want, and you can use any singer you want, you can use any sing you want, any song you want, or any rap you want, or maybe even a spoken word if you want to listen to how someone who's very good at storytelling does what they do. You can learn from all of that, and it's just a concept that I'm teaching you in the program, and then you can continue to use the software or not. It's totally up to you, but I want you to know that this leads somewhere, And one of the things I haven't talked about yet, and I'll mute you right here just for a second so that I can just talk about this for a second. One of the things I forgot to mention, excuse me, is that you, of course, can speed this back up. And you can change the key again. So let's say, you've been listening to it minus 30%. You go, hey, I really got this, and I got the whole song. Now I want to speed it up. And you may try to go right back to the original artist tempo. If you find that's too fast, then go back to minus 15%. And I even have some clients. I just had one of my clients the other day is working on some really fast stuff, because the guy that he's doing a cover for is like speed talking. It's really, really, really fast. So we slowed it down 50%. Within a week, he was back up to the original tempo with that, and he was doing great. And so now we're talking about the feel. We're going to talk about all those things because he's got the rhythm down. So it's not just, it always has to be slower. You can get it. And I'm also thinking about, or probably will do, depending on how much interest people show in this program, is to do a program on how, more for beginners, how to sing with tracks. So how to take what you just learned, say, from Bette Midler, or what you just learned from Busta Rhymes, and now do it yourself on a track. Because, when you perform, you don't want Busta Rhymes there. You don't want Bette Midler there. You actually get to the point where they're kind of stomping on your style. You don't want them there creating a problem for you. So we've gone over what we said we were going to do, and that's cool. I don't mind at all. Now, are there any other questions that I've missed? I'm looking at everybody to make sure I can see if their hands up. If not, we will close up the session. Just don't want to leave anyone out. Okay, looks like we've done it. Okay, great, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. And tell your friends about it, please. And I'll be posting one of these. Just a little heads up, as long as it's okay with Mayat. Can I tell them about what we're going to do next year, Mayat? Okay. We're going to do one of these where he's the producer and I'm the vocal pre-producer, and we will actually show you what's going on in the studios and how this actually is working. Now, Wayne, I know you know a lot of this stuff already. It's good to see you. But we will actually be working with people, having them do things. Mayat will be saying, okay, this is what you're doing now. This is how we want you to feel. Now, then Brad will come in and try to facilitate that for you, because the producer and the artist are my boss. I'm not the one who decides how this is all going to go down. That's not my job. That's the producer's job. That's why I say pre-production. Because when I work with artists, I make sure that the producer's involved in the project so that everybody knows exactly what's going to happen when they start tracking the vocals. All right, everyone. Thank you again. And we'll close it up now. I have recorded this, so I will be putting it back up on Facebook. So watch out for it if you haven't seen it, or you want to send it to a friend, or you just want to watch what happened again. Things were going kind of quick. So ending of meeting. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care. Enjoy your presence.